listen to what you've heard, I would say. We are trying to implement systems which will get you accurate data sooner than you had it before. And again, it's not an administration thing. It's been happening, not the Mueller administration, it's been happening for as long as I was on the board. Mr. Jones, you're on the board, and I was here saying Mr. Dockery's been on the board. So there are efforts being made, genuine efforts being made, to see that more accurate numbers are available sooner. I'll just let it go with that. There's no intention to hide from the public. There's no intention to mislead the board. We're striving for accuracy. We have to run the business with accurate numbers, just as you need accurate numbers when you look over the budget and get involved in the budget process. You understand that?
Any other comments? Public input?
Good evening, Commissioners. Joe Hilliard, South Allentown. I'd like to educate County Executive Mueller, who was not here at the last meeting. I take great offense to his comments. For everybody who was here, I did not call Mr. Reeves' competency into question or anybody on the fiscal staff. I specifically focused on the IT system. And as Commissioner Holt will remember, I asked, does anybody know what we spend on this? And I believe it was $4 million plus a year. I said it's ridiculous that we can't get these reports, and we had to wait. Now, if the question is, well, we want it to the dollar. Well, that's not what anybody was asking for. Because if these numbers aren't about 98% accurate by the end of the first quarter, we got bigger systemic problems, and that's what I was getting at. I've seen many good, competent people and really bad systems that fail. It's not their fault. And I think that's what we're all talking about. We need to change the system. To some of the other points, the administrative code demands a monthly report. I've been advocating to some of you, we need to enforce that and we need to update it. We need to make it a little more specific. My right to know, I did ask for, I did submit the right to know request. I did get a 30-day extension. Doesn't surprise me. Probably some legitimate reasons, but one of the things I asked for is called the chart of accounts. When I get that, I'll be able to map out exactly what the report should look like, and I will submit that to the board. And that should be posted online because there is public scrutiny going on. I work with school district activists. They're getting more transparent. They're posting their audits, their budgets, their treasurer reports. This is a new era. It all started a few years ago, and we know why. It was a movement that exploded, and it's not a D or an R thing, as Commissioner Jones keeps saying. We want greater transparency and accountability. We're going to have to look into these numbers more. 10 million sounds low to me. If I take out the revised budget numbers, because it was explained to me last year, as many of you recall, I kept questioning what is a revised budget. I was told it's carryovers and transfers from prior years. So therefore, I'm only concerned in the adopted and the actual received year-to-date or expended year-to-date numbers. That should be the 2014 budget. If we look at that, for extra revenues, we got $4.55 million for savings, and a big part of it was payroll, as I've been advocating to the board ever since the budget, $13.16 million in savings. That's $17 million plus. That's about the neighborhood I was expecting. So once again, we've got to, I understand there's multi-year projects, there's carryovers, etc. But we have to separate this revised number from the actual 2014 year. That's where all this confusion is. And maybe it's accidental, maybe it's not, that's irrelevant. It needs to stop. So I hope the board going into this budget cycle really, we get a breakout of carryovers and everything else versus the actual budget. Because this revised budget, it causes confusion. We've seen it in school districts where years ago they were even claiming there's no such thing as a detailed budget. Well, common sense would tell you that's idiocy. We found out there are, we started asking for PDE Form 2059. Because the nice thing about big government, Because if you know the right form number, you get the information. And we're gonna need to create it if it doesn't exist in the county level. So like I said, as soon as I get the chart of accounts, I will make a recommended report. It will break all this out. We're gonna have to figure out how to handle the revised numbers. Because you're right. How can you make good decisions as managers? And as far as the chain of command goes, it's the tradition in the United States of America that the legislative body is the top of the chain of command because they're more directly responsible to the people. So, I hope we keep moving in the right direction. The ERP system sounds great. Maybe this is the fuel to make sure that gets implemented properly and in the proper way. Again, I can commend Mr. Reeves in the fiscal office. I commend all employees in the county. I hear from some of them. The system they have to work on is, I even brought it up. I looked at the financial system. I had a better computer system in 1983 at Lehigh University, and we're paying multiple $1 million a year for this system. So again, I don't blame them, I blame the system, and the system needs to change. Thank you for your time. I hope you guys do follow up on this, these numbers more, because I think there's significantly more money there. Thank you.
Thank you.